Could you please give us your name?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, I came in with the saw. Ooh, yeah, I came in with the saw. Bitch, I flare red raw. Yeah, bitch, I flare red raw. Yeah.
Epstein file. Jeffrey Epstein.
From the Epstein file.
Jeffrey Epstein was a financier whose wealth and connections masked a dark secret. For years, he moved in elite circles, associating with politicians, celebrities, and royalty, while building a network that would later shock the world. Allegations of sexual abuse and human trafficking surfaced, revealing victims as young as 14. Epstein's private properties became centers of manipulation and exploitation, hidden behind luxury and power. Authorities struggled to confront Epstein due to his influence. In 2008, he received a controversial plea deal, avoiding significant prison time, which fueled public outrage and suspicion of systemic protection. Epstein's 2019 arrest reignited global attention. New evidence showed the scale of his crimes and the involvement of prominent figures, raising questions about accountability at the highest levels of society.
Is your money dirty money?
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So, in fact,
Why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it.
But you earned it.
I earned it legally.
We went back to this before. You earned
Yes.
it. You earned it, advising the worst people in the world, right? That do enormous bad things, and just to make more money. You're a mathematician. We walked into that clinic where they're giving that money out to these people that are in the most dire straits of poverty and sickness, and told them that the money was coming from a, what are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
Was tier 1's the highest and worst?
No, I'm
The lowest?
I'm the lowest.
You're
yes.
the lowest. Okay, tier 1, you're the lowest. But a criminal.
Yes.
That the money came from them. What percentage of people do you estimate? I understand you don't like probabilities. Do you estimate would say, I don't care, I want the money for my children?
I would say everyone said, I want the money for my children.
Did they know where the money came from?
I think if you
See,
told them,
if I told them
the devil,
100%.
the devil
himself.
The devil himself said, I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question. Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil is
Was
somebody
the devil
knows
smart?
The devil's brilliant. You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
Satan is at the number 1 or 2 archangel, and the reason he goes to hell and leads the rebellion is because he can't be the top guy. And his thing is, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
I saw that in a movie once.
His death in custody was ruled a suicide, but conspiracy theories and unanswered questions continue. The case exposed flaws in justice, the abuse of power, and the silent suffering of countless victims. Epstein's connections extended into the world of high-profile figures. Publicly documented encounters included Donald Trump, Bill Gates, and other influential elites, raising questions about the breadth of his social network. As new court filings emerged, the picture of a vast network became clearer. Each revelation fueled speculation about how much influence these high-profile figures wielded. Victims' testimonies highlighted the human toll behind the headlines, showing the contrast between privilege and exploitation.
I've replayed this. It's been nearly 2 decades of replaying this in my mind. Countless times.
You know, when you describe it in all this detail, you know, I've spoken with a number of people about these types of things on the show, and I can't, this is, you know, strikes me like a textbook case of what they call grooming. Right?
Yes, absolutely. That is exactly the process that I went through with the first 3 women. You know, I'm excited, I'm thrilled at the opportunity. I really feel that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It certainly has been presented to me as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I get there, I am met with a driver with my name. Now, what I know now about grooming is all of that is part of the process. Having the driver there with my name on a sign is part of the grooming process. It is intentional. It is every move a groomer makes is intentional. They wanted me to feel comfortable, tended to, cared for, safe. the driver takes me to the apartment where I'm staying. It's clean, it's comfortable, it's safe. There's food there in case I'm hungry. That's another part of the grooming process, because yet again, it solidifies and sends the message to me that they genuinely care. And when you're 22 or younger or even older, you feel as though these steps are being taken to ensure your comfort and well-being. Again, that's an intentional part of the manipulation, the emotional manipulation. And then my time spent with Gilan, and every point that I spoke about, she had something to eat to match me, whether it was about our birthday, whether it was about our dads, whether it was about Ohio. Every single time that I said something and she would meet me with it, it was intended to make an emotional connection with me.
As you can see, this lady was told she was going to be a model, and she couldn't let this opportunity pass her by.
With Gilan. Then I'm feeling, even though she just presented to me that I'm going to go meet with her partner, Jeffrey, and it's the first time I've heard that I'm going to go meet with anyone, I feel safe and comfortable and confident and even quite excited, because I feel like this part of the interview must have gone so well that I now get the opportunity to go finish the interview and get the job. And so when I leave Gilan Maxwell's home and I have a time and an address to go meet at Jeffrey's home, you know, then I'm walking myself there. You know, again, what I speak about often is that point precisely. I walked myself to the home of the man that was going to abuse me. I walked myself to a predator's home. And I was not forced to go there. I was not tied up and taken there. You know, I walked myself there. And why was I so comfortable and confident and excited to walk myself there? And that was because each of those women had very successfully, very masterfully manipulated me and groomed me into thinking that it was a safe and healthy environment for me to go to.
And then it makes it incredibly difficult because, you know, many of the women that's similar that have experienced this weren't able to leave or didn't leave or didn't find it in themselves to leave.
Right.
At that moment.
Yes. And I'm not sure exactly what it was, you know, in me that everybody is different. Every scenario is different. You know, yes, in my instance, I was able to go and not go back. And oftentimes, especially with survivors, there's a history of abuse. In my case, that is the case. I have a history of abuse, sexual abuse as a child. And though oftentimes some survivors stay or continue to go back because the situation that they're coming from is actually worse than what they experience in a trafficking and grooming type situation, which is very sad, you know.
Everything you described, right? It doesn't seem like there was almost any reason why you should have been suspicious, right? Or were there signs? I mean, you mentioned there were a few moments where you asked yourself a question, but you know, this is something obviously that right these days you go out, you talk about, you're educating young women and men about all of this, how this all functions. But
yeah.
How would you notice that this is really what's happening in a situation like this?
It is difficult at times, and you're right. There were instances, Gilan telling me, you know, make sure he gets what he wants. Jeffrey always gets what he wants. I think, okay, he's had a lot of professional massage because of who he is. He's successful. They travel the world. He's had a lot of massage. Anytime I questioned anything, I normalized it instantly to what I thought I was there for. So there was never a time that I thought that I was there for anything else. There was never a time that I thought that I was in any danger, and I did find it to be safe. And what I can say to those now, as far as if they may be experiencing something, is, and I understand it can be difficult, but when you do have those questions that rise within you, the best thing that you can do is to share those thoughts or those feelings with someone that you trust and get their idea or their take or feel on the situation. And so I really encourage children and teens and anyone really to be able to identify at least one trusted adult in their life that they can share those things with, and to really trust themselves and not doubt themselves and their intuition. And that also goes into teaching body awareness and autonomy even to young ones, because it all ties together. Because you have sometimes a 4-year-old where we want to teach that 4-year-old, if they do not wish to give someone a hug, that their parent or whoever they're with, their caretaker, should not make them, oh, you'll hurt their feelings if you don't give them a hug. Go ahead and give them a hug. So then they're reluctantly giving a hug, but they're going against everything they're feeling that they should be doing for themselves. So we're trying to teach at a young age, age-appropriate ways to understand and to, really kind of stand up for yourself. So to at least increase the odds of being able to identify if it's predatory behavior. Because, we do have family and friends that are around us that care about us and want to share things with us and want to give us gifts and special times and trips and these great things. And that's all, of course, very healthy and normal. And it's very healthy and normal for us to receive these things and feel good and then want to give back. And that is part of the grooming process, is groomers want to blur those lines to confuse you. I mean, one of the main goals is confusion, of blurring the lines, because then you trust them like you would trust a family member. So again, it often does come back to listening to yourself and taking a moment to really figure out how you're feeling about a situation or a person. It's better safe than sorry all the time, especially if it's someone new or someone sudden, that, not a lifelong friend or a lifelong family member, of course. If it's someone that has newly approached you or newly came into your life through a situation. Again, groomers, one of their main goals and intentions, in addition to getting you to a place of trustworthiness to where you're then abused, because as I've said about grooming, it's like the gatekeeper. It's like the gateway to abuse. You have to have a successful grooming process for the abuse to happen. If you don't have a successful grooming process, then the predator does not have the opportunity to abuse.
Questions of justice and accountability reached the public sphere, with debates about whether systemic protection allowed Epstein to operate unchecked. Epstein's death sparked conspiracy theories, further complicating the narrative. While officially ruled a suicide, doubts and questions persist in the public imagination. In this clip from the video, you can see that the trash can is empty. Why is she rummaging around and putting things back in? Even years later, the investigation continues. Archival footage, documents, and new reporting keep the story alive, reminding the world that power can obscure the truth. But even after everything uncovered, one question still lingers. Was Epstein acting alone, or was he just one piece of a much larger system? As investigations continue, names, records, and unanswered questions remain locked away, hidden behind power, wealth, and silence. The truth may never be fully revealed, but one thing is certain: this story is far from over. And if this much has already come to light, imagine what still remains in the shadows.